Let's run the numbers. Derek and Ryan, both 28, both just landed their first real jobs, pulling in $74,000 a year. Same city, same rent, same takeout habits. The only difference, what they do with the $800 they manage to save every single month. Derek plays it smart, or so he thinks. He opens a high-yield savings account at an online bank, 5% APY. No risk, no volatility, no sleepless nights. He can see his balance grow in real time. Every month, the interest hits like a small reward. It feels responsible. It feels safe. And honestly, it feels good. Ryan does something that makes Derek a little nervous just hearing about it. He opens a brokerage account, sets up an automatic $800 monthly contribution into a total market index fund, and stops thinking about it. No checking the app every day. No reacting to headlines. Just steady, mechanical investing. 10 years in, Derek has over $124,000 in his savings account, and it's never once dropped in value. He's proud of that. Ryan's portfolio, it's swung up and down like a roller coaster. But right now, it's sitting at $163,000. Derek shakes it off. I don't have the stomach for that risk, he tells himself. But then 30 years pass. The comfortable trap. Here's the thing nobody explains to you about a high-yield savings account. The yield isn't yours to keep. That 5% rate, it's tied to the federal funds rate. When the Fed cuts rates, and historically, they always do, your 5% becomes 4%, then 3.5%, then 2.1% during the next economic slowdown. The bank isn't locked into that number. You are the one who adjusted your life around it. Meanwhile, inflation doesn't negotiate. Over the past century, it's averaged around 3.1% per year. So your 5% return is actually closer to 1.9% in real purchasing power before taxes. And yes, the IRS considers savings account interest ordinary income. If you're in the 22% tax bracket, that 5% becomes roughly 3.9%. Subtract inflation and you're left with less than 1% of real growth. You're not building wealth. You're maintaining it. Barely. What the market actually does, over time, the S&P 500 has returned an average of roughly 10% annually over the last 50 years. Not every year. Some years it drops 20%, and some years it surges 30%. But the average, held across decades, is close to 10%. And here's what most people miss. That 10% compounds on itself. It doesn't reset. It doesn't track the Fed. It doesn't disappear during a rate cut. Every dollar you make goes back into the machine and earns its own return. Ryan's money isn't just growing. It's multiplying. The 30-year scoreboard. Both men are now 58 and staring retirement in the face. Here's where they stand. Same $800 a month. Same 30 years. Ryan's index fund, at an average 10% annual return, approximately $1,810,000. Derek's high-yield savings, averaging 3.5% after rate changes over the decades, approximately $488,000. That's a gap of $1,322,000. Not because Ryan took wild bets. Not because he picked hot stocks or timed the market. He literally just showed up every month and let compound interest do what it does over long periods of time. Derek did everything right by conventional wisdom and ended up with less than a third of Ryan's outcome. But Derek never lost money. True. And that distinction matters, emotionally. During the 2008 crash, Ryan's portfolio dropped over 40%. During the COVID sell-off, it fell another 33% in 5 weeks. Those moments were brutal on paper. But here's the key word, paper. Ryan didn't sell. He kept buying, and every single time the market recovered and climbed to new highs. Derek's account never dropped, but it also never fully participated in the recoveries. He watched those rebounds from the sidelines, earning his 5% while the market doubled. There's a difference between volatility risk and outcome risk. Derek avoided volatility, but he accepted the far more dangerous risk, the risk of not having enough money when it actually matters. So, when does a high-yield savings account win? It absolutely has a role, just not as a wealth-building vehicle. Use it for your emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses, liquid and untouched. Use it for money you'll need in under 2 years, a house down payment, a car, a wedding. For short-term money, capital preservation beats growth every time. But for long-term wealth, anything beyond a 5-year horizon, letting inflation and taxes quietly erode your savings account is a choice. Maybe not one you made consciously, but a choice with consequences that compound just as reliably as any investment. The real math of safety. Derek felt safe for 30 years. His balance never went red. His anxiety stayed low. But at 58, with $488,000 and a retirement that needs to last 25 to 30 years, he now has to make uncomfortable choices. Work longer, spend less, or accept a retirement that looks very different from the one he imagined. Ryan sat through crashes, watched his balance drop 6 figures on a bad month, kept buying anyway. At 58, with $1,810,000, Ryan gets to choose. That's the real difference between safe and secure. If this changed how you're thinking about where your money is sitting right now, subscribe. Next week, we're going inside the exact account structure Ryan used, and how you can set the same thing up in under 20 minutes. See you then.